Good morning, everybody. This is Jack Gleason with Startuptrading.com. It is 9 o'clock in the morning on October 2nd, 2020. Economic news events this morning. We had the non-farm payroll unemployment rate came down better than expected. And the non-farm employment change was actually worse than expected. I'm not exactly sure how those numbers equate, but that's what it was. At 10 o'clock, we're going to have the revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment. And because it's Friday, we'll just take a look real quick at the Red Star news events coming up next week. ISM on Monday for the U.S. markets. RBA cash rate statement on Monday as well. Annual budget release for the Australian dollar Tuesday. FOMC meeting minutes will be Wednesday for the U.S. markets, and then unemployment numbers for the Canadian dollar on Friday. And that's all we have for economic Red Star news events next week. The unexpected news event was the title of this video. If you live under a rock, you might not know yet, but Trump got corona, and so did his wife. So wish them well. We'll take a look at the impact it had on the markets, or at least the fear and uncertainty that it created, which how coincidental that we're coming out of daily 50% retracement shorts and there's a news event. So entries, news events never really provide entries. They just provide action. And the entries typically have already happened, which is amazing here to see where we came out of. And I'm going to go back out. I'm going to start with the Russell. What have we been on for the last few days? We're going to go to a daily chart real quick. We've been inside of this full 50% retracement short, which originally traded on the 30th. Yesterday, we did end up pushing through those highs, but we're still inside of this full halfway back short from the high of August 11th. Too low. Now, whether or not this completes into the election is to be determined, but it's pretty interesting that we are right at these levels. Now, what the Russell had that was leading it higher was this extension sequence that goes back to the prior Friday. It's been our support since Tuesday. It was our support Tuesday. It was our support Wednesday. It was even our support here in the overnight session. But with the new news events, or this is something completely new and unexpected to the market. It's pretty rare that the market gets information that's completely new and unexpected, and that can change the opinions of the potential outcome of the election, whether he's going to survive or whatever people want to speculate on. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to show you guys the technical action coming out of it. So we had this extension long from what was 1463.8 to high. Now we traded this on Tuesday. We completed targets Wednesday. We had a same anchor new high, traded Wednesday. We made a new high and then began failing from those highs inside of this daily 50% retracement short, and the European traders got a perfect entry into the full 50% retracement at 3 o'clock in the morning last night. That has a downside target that leads us through the support we've had. So bears are in control. I am going to remove that support level. I do expect it to break going into the morning here. Our downside target for the Russell is 1481.2. 1481.2 is our downside target at or below. So we need to be aware of that. Moving on to the S&P 500. Little bit of a different sequence. Now, this week, and we've been paying attention to the 75, the 3375 resistance yesterday was really aggressively highlighting the 92.5 to 95 level. We didn't get it. We continued to sell from the 3375, which is our first extension inside of the trend lower. And this is held multiple times. Our highs are right now September 3rd, right? We had an extension once to target, twice to target, 3 times. And then this was the 4th time at 75s, which we first took a look at Wednesday. Now, yesterday we were creeping up above those levels. Big fake out, barely got above those highs. And we spent the remainder of the day inside of a 50% hourly short sequence, which also happened to line up with those original 75s of the higher time frame. Now, once we started getting the price action to the downside, so far every time we've come into that overnight high, which is, I call it the Friday session high, even though it actually began trading on Thursday, it's going to be the Friday candles, sold into, it's, we were literally in short setups before this announcement was publicly made. That's the important thing I want to note here. We were literally in short setups, and then this announcement became public. Now we are still in short setups. We have held the high of Friday too low here in the overnight session. Once again, those European traders, lucky ducks, they got the entry at 33.3775, and here we are 30 points lower with the downside target of 32.82 half. 32.82 half would be the full 50% retracement short. Now, what I'm interested to see is what happens when we open. There could be a regular trading hours extension sequence from the low of 33.5575. I don't think we're going to be able to rotate back up into those 37.75s immediately in the morning. You can see there's actually already some participation on this extension. If you draw it to the overnight low. So honestly, that's where I expect our resistance to come into play. I do think we're going to move into a regular trading hours sequence. So we'll have to wait and see where we open, and then I will draw this low here, 55.75, to whatever low we make in the morning, and that will be where I'll look for the entry into the trend. But this I have highlighted here. It is a previous daily swing high, but at this point in time, shorts are going to need to break to confirm support. There is the full 50% retracement below at 32.93 quarter, but we have targets below our long setup. Those targets I do believe need to complete before we get anything spectacular moving back to the upside. Moving on to the Dow, a little more aggressive. The Dow was weaker out of the highs. Let's back out here to the daily chart. The Dow, if you guys remember, was actually the first market to have this perfect traditional earlier in September. We completed targets, and then that full 50% retracement short, we spent the last 2 days getting rejected from that area. Now, there was a very clean, look at this. This is the startup trading indicator code. This white dot produced a leg start, daily leg start, pretty significant resistance level that I look at. And we traded that level yesterday, and those were our highs. We began selling off in the Dow before any of the other markets. So the Dow is definitely, for me, the weaker price action here. We had the 50% retracement short complete into close, and then there was that next measure move, which was aggressively front run. That was at 27,759. We never got that entry. We broke out of the long setup, and then there was just that that end of the day high to low, and that's gone completely through targets. Still, the high of Friday, the Friday session too low, gives us a downside target here of 26,690, which is going to lead us to a retest of the breakout. So I actually really like a potential reversal play here in the Dow below those profit targets, because what are we going to be retesting? Let me just come in here and change a date. We're retesting the location of the breakout. So I'm going to go back here. Come on. Cooperate. I always like to look left on my chart. You see, this is where we broke out of, going back to Thursday, Friday. That's our downside target. That is a potential trend reversal location I will look for the YM, but valid downside targets for the Dow. And guys, remember, I don't have them drawn up on my screen right now, but the full 50% retracement shorts from highs are absolutely valid. Full 50 in all of the markets, So I do want to pay attention to where that level is. Right here in the Dow, that's at 27,536. 536, right up there. If we get up there, anything's possible. Moving on to the NQ, which broke down. We came into this extension last night. This we've been looking for this level for quite some time. It literally traded to the tick. Great reaction. The Nasdaq was the most technical market coming out of last Thursday's lows. It was a very clean traditional. The Nasdaq actually broke shorts on Thursday while none of the other markets did. That was kind of the signal that the selling pressure was over. We flipped, held along into the close on Thursday, double bottomed Friday morning, literally rallied straight up to full targets, and then we began an extension series, which we were watching That completed targets. Then we had that same anchor new high. Now that same anchor new high, it already had it set up. That was the 11,303. If you were there last night, I know a couple people were, that traded perfectly. We rotated immediately into the short, and that short has a downside target that's going to lead us through this support level. So I am going to remove this support level with the anticipation that we are completing these profit targets. When we complete them, we're just going to have next traditional setups, and we very well could just be rotating back to the bottom range here. I'm not going to be trying to pick bottoms here. I'm going to have to see some evidence that buyers are coming in, and it's going to be interesting to see how the market takes this news. We do not know how the market is going to take these news. We could just sell off in shorts all day, like Perry said, and finish the day down 2% or more, or we could complete these targets and that would be it. We're going to have to wait for the targets to complete and then draw the next measure moves and just follow the technical setups. Moving on to oil, absolutely crushed. Oh my goodness. Oil at this point in time looks like it's going all the way down to like the low 35 area. What we ran into last night was this first extension, and I really should have been a little more on top of this trade because oil was such an incredible volatile mover yesterday. We had this traditional coming out of those highs, and that low to low is what actually traded, and that is going to have a downside negative 61 and then our traditional negative 61. So two big negative 61s are going to be down here, but at this point in time we actually have a daily extension from Tuesday's low to low, which is being sold into. So one of the moves I really am watching here, and I would love to see a 50 retest this 37.60. This is probably my favorite trade right now, 37.60. It's a prior low of yesterday. I got a 4-hour leg start. It's a 50% retracement that's untested. It's resistance here, and it's a very aggressive trend down. Now, if we complete in new lows at 36.42, that is going to change. That is going to change, but right now that 37.60 is my favorite trade for all of the markets I've gone over. Moving on now to the USD JPY. I had highlighted this level in the called Jack's room. Let me show you guys this. So in the trade room, have this little Jack's room tab, and I just put different setups that are really sticking out to me. And this is where I put this USD JPY setup in this startup trading trade room in that section. Now, the reason I really like this setup, and these are the ones you see in advance, it's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust it. So we had just a great support zone. We had a 50% retracement, also just an area we broke out. Now we did, dip a little bit in, but the important thing is we held that 61.8. We stayed above it, and now we're coming out of it. As soon as we started bidding back out of it, we've had one traditional complete, and I will just continue to watch the halfway backs from that low. Both the USD JPY and the USD CAD, which I'll go over in a little bit, are coming out of daily 50% retracement longs here. The Aussie dollar broke down and out of its uptrend yesterday and in the overnight session, and then we were sold into. So I'm looking at this 50% retracement zone here for the Aussie dollar from 71.69 to 71.75 here. And I don't even trust the 71.07s here. I don't have any support until then, so I'd like to potentially get into a short trade up near the highs and then rotate it back down to the bottom or at least middle of the range. The euro, we had that first test of the long on Wednesday. It would be a second test here, little sketchy. And coming out of the highs, we do have a 50% retracement short that's been sold into. So if we can complete this short, I think we'll make maybe a new low, this 116.77, if there's some buying pressure out of the completion of the short, as well as a retest long. But that's about the only area. I'm going to move this box over. I'd wait till that completes for the euro. But really off non-farm payroll, not a big move. Not a big move. The pound has been inside of this traditional long all week, and I'm just leaving it as is, 128.02. But it's just a big range. It's like straight up, straight down, straight up. Maybe we go straight down again. But I'm not really wanting to participate in this range. I'm just watching it. But if we got down to the 128.02, that would trigger my interest. And then here's the USD CAD. This also I put in the room, this Jack's room tab. Where is it? To find it. Oh, here we are. So this support level, I was talking about trading going back the September 30th. Now, we came into it yesterday. All right, we came into it yesterday, and it's had a perfect reaction. We've broken above the previous daily highs, and we've begun getting bids out of these longs. So I am going to be looking and continue to look for a long series out of the USD CAD. It's always important when we come into daily support levels to focus on the markets that react off the higher time frame, as opposed to markets that are not really reacting off the higher time frame, because they can lead to bigger moves. So that right here is why I'm highlighting the USD CAD and also the USD JPY, which I went over before. Upside target is a 133.42 based on yesterday's swing low to the overnight swing high. And then moving on to gold and silver, I really just still am wanting to see this 50% retracement from the low of last week on Thursday to high trade in gold, but we just cannot get down into it for whatever reason. I do think we eventually will, and when we do, I think it'll be a great trade. But without us getting down into those levels, we need to basically go straight up in a long series from the overnight low to high. If we're going to continue up, we need to continue to just hold this breakout. Silver, once again, we have just, it's very similar to gold. Like, we just need to hold this overnight low to high. We cannot get above 2440s with any momentum here in silver. So it's been pretty choppy. The longs have been very sloppy. At this point in time, probably just going to be in observation mode here. Silver for the day, unless we got down to like 23.17, because it's just not that technical. It has not been that technical. Now, if we complete 24.44s, we'll have a next measured move. But as it is right now, we broke the halfway back long for the low of Wednesday in the overnight session. We bid back up the highs. This has already had a first test. So at this point, this is a second test. We don't want to take second test. We want to take first test. So if we complete the long, next measured move is valid. Other than that, the only thing I'm looking at is a higher time frame setup, which is all the way down at 23.17. So that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan here. Indexes, they're basically opening up in no man's land with downside targets. So you just got to be patient there. I really like the price action, the tactical price action here in CL. And the USD CAD, the USD JPY are coming off of daily support levels and have had fantastic reactions. So probably going to be focusing on those markets. Everybody trade safe. I'll share my levels with you guys in the Startup Trading Trade Room. If you're interested in joining, click the link below. Feel free to share this video with anybody who you know might be interested in futures trading. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. If I don't talk to you, I will be in the trade room. And then I'll also see you guys Monday. Take care. If anybody who you know might be interested in futures trading, have a wonderful weekend, guys. If I don't talk to you, I will be in the trade room. And then I'll also see you guys Monday. Take care.